Number 4, my next key takeaway is about being visually engaging. So Dr. Jessie Ricketts, who I think is at the Royal Holloway, has found evidence that actually there's a really strong link between how we present a word's written form and the improved learning of its spelling in spoken form. So if we see it, it embeds more fully and can well lead to better learning of the word's meaning. So we need to be really mindful of how we capture vocabulary. I love those speech bubbles, thought bubbles in the classroom. I definitely have those on my desk, ready to jot down some great ideas. But also Beck and McEwen talk about the real value in visually representing words. So in order to secure vocabulary, it really does help to see it. So however you capture it digitally, you know, low tech on a post-it note that you can grab off the wall next lesson and put back on the desks, displays, washing lines, writing on the windows, whatever it might be, it really does bear some thought about how you're going to visually capture good tier 2 vocab that you want your young people to embed for that particular unit of work or whatever it might be. So as a school, to have a school-wide policy about capturing vocabulary visually, I think would be really, really powerful. And what a nice transition project to look at how, you know, some of the best ways primary schools are visually capturing vocabulary and bringing that up into secondary. It certainly would help with academic vocab, because it's treasure, and we need to display it. Let's have a look at some nice ideas of other ways of doing it. You're probably familiar with the Freya model. Alex Quigley talks a lot about the Freya model and its uses. Very helpful. I find it particularly helps pupils to know what it isn't. I really like that non-examples section within the Freya model there on the left. If we know what it is and we know what it isn't, it's like a waggle and a wobble. Remember those? What a good one looks like, what a bad one looks like. It sort of helps secure meaning and nuance. But equally, we've got those word maps or semantic representations of words that help layer up meaning for young people. And that needs to be captured and that needs to be displayed, not for 4 years so that they stop looking at it, but keep it new and relevant. It doesn't have to be beautiful, but it does need to be useful. So think about ways that you can display some of those word maps in whatever subject area and whatever guise that might be. It might be that you've got graphic organizers and you've got these sorts of things in there, but actually they're really helpful visual reference guides, and then you can turn them into something. You know, you could turn that into a freeze frame, you could turn that into a TikTok, you could turn that word map into a monologue, a performance poem. You can tell English is my subject because, you know, you can make a performance poem out of transportation, I'm sure you can. But you get the idea. So that actually these are the starting points for more creative, active learning, which is how language and vocabulary really does embed, is by doing, because they'll remember. It's all about triggering that memory, isn't it? Actually, the Freya model is good as a baseline as well. If you're looking at, you know, what do my students know at the moment, use it as a baseline, and then, you know, have another go at it 3 weeks later and see what else they now know. That's nice. A nice tracker of progress is that Freya model. These are really visually powerful as well, looking at word gradients, or some people call them semantic clines, looking at polar opposites. What does it mean to move from being slow to fast in terms of the vocabulary? What does it mean to go from being softly spoken to loud in terms of the vocabulary? And these sort of continuums are really interesting and would make a really great display. And equally, you could put the words on post-its so you can move them around, and then you've got all sorts of discussion about nuance there. You know, why is sighed louder than muttered? What a great conversation. to really unpick the layers of meaning within vocabulary. You know, and this idea would work well with all subject areas. It particularly works well with nouns. You know, you can go from midnight to midday. What does it look like to move through the day? What time is twilight? Is that before or after witching hour? Is that before or after bedtime? You know, and it triggers discussion and talk. It's a great talk generator, these word gradients. But equally, you know, you could use that in science, perhaps, where you're looking at more reactive through to least reactive elements. You could maybe use it in PE with different sports and the amount of viewers they get, and let's put that on a continuum. All of those ideas just really bolster the opportunity for talk and vocabulary learning. So I really like that one. Great conversation about nuance right there.